And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:26. And listen, guys, it's WVON's birthday. And if you know me, you know I love birthdays. 63 years. Now, open up with some jingles. I don't know about you, but I opted we get back to a jingle. But I want some creative jingles. I don't know if folk like me get excited about a real good jingle. Oh, man. Digging the ball to WVON. I'm going back to the phone line, 773-591-1690. Let's talk to Ethel. Ethel, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the only thing that's ringing in my ears is WVON 1450, and I'm 72 years old.
Oh, that's what I actually played that this morning. Yeah.
This WVON from College of St. Francis and Joliet. That's the first thing we tried to find was a black radio station amongst all the white folks, okay? And there was only two blacks in each path down there. And I just want to say happy birthday. I don't know when the call letters changed, but I must have been living in Egypt then when you changed. And when I came back home in 2017, right before the pandemic, I said, where's WVON? It's not on 1450 anymore. Everybody looked at me like I was crazy. Anyway, happy birthday.
Oh, well, I think the evolution of a stronger signal. The call letters are WVON, but the signal changed to 1690 so we can reach more people. Let me ask you this before I let you go. What value do you have in radio today?
I listen to WVON all day. It informs me, lets me know what's happening in the community. Because sometimes we get lost. And I don't even listen to the other radio stations anymore. I don't know if it's because I'm older now and I'm seeking more wisdom. But you all need to keep on doing what you're doing because we need you.
Well, thank you so much.
You are the only black voice that's informative for us. Okay?
Thank you so much for the call. I really appreciate it. Let's talk to Keith. Keith, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning, Mrs. Draper. Thank you and your team for building and maintaining this forum. They allow me to speak in it. I had to know about about you guys because I grew down the street from you on 87th Street. But my mom was in WBBM in the morning when I was getting ready for school work. I'm a few year old listener. Since I started working at home, it's more convenient for me to be listened to because listening to WVON is participatory. It's not just informative. It's participatory. I appreciate the forum. That's why I say that every time I talk with you. So thank you and your team. I started listening to radio back when I was at Florida State University, traveling back and forth to Jacksonville when I was in the reserves for my duty. And then I started listening to NPR more on campus. And so that started my personal radio adventure. You know, the 107.5 and 96. That's how I was a kid. When I started growing up, I went to NPR and now thing. But you guys bring it up, and I appreciate it. And maybe you're I've heard people from fast geography. I appreciate that. So when I took communications at Florida State University, I forgot the professor's name, but he talked about media breathing. In other words, pushing information out copy it, but do something similar now. But you got started. Thank you very much. Good day.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, I'm up against a break, but when we come back, I have a very special segment we're going to unpack, and it is WVON's birthday. So stay tuned because we're celebrating all day long across every section of every station and every show. It is WVON's birthday.
Windy and cooler with today's highs in the 40s. Good morning. I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. Chicago's iconic WVON radio station turns 63 today. Living legends George Daniels of iconic George's Music Room and bluesman Billy Branch stopped by this morning to celebrate.
Purpose man and WVON were essential to keeping the blues present on the airwaves. You know, Chicago became the blues capital of the world, as George mentioned. You know, chess records by the artists, many of them coming up from Mississippi, including Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, Little Walter, and through chess records and WVON helped cement Chicago's legacy as the blues capital of the world.
WVON was founded by broadcasting pioneer, the late Purvis Band, the Bluesman, along with partners Wesley South and legendary radio personality Herb Kent, the Cool Gent, and others. The station's roots grow deeply out of the civil rights movement and was the voice and source of information for local and national affairs, especially during the riots that followed the death of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Chicagoans I spoke to yesterday are also celebrating with WVON today.
My name is Elliot. I'm from the south side of Chicago. WVON has been with me all my life. I appreciate it for being here. We are about the same age. Congratulations and keep on going.
We will be sharing and talking more about WVON's history throughout the day. Now, later today, NASA's Aramis 2 mission is set to make history by sending the first Black astronaut on a moon mission. Astronaut Victor Glover Jr. spoke exclusively with WVON's Rufus Williams and explains the purpose of the mission.
Artemis 2 will be the first time in about 52, 53 years that we've sent humans to the moon since we stopped doing that specific journey in December of 1972. And so this is now our campaign, like Apollo was our first moon campaign. This is our campaign to not only send humans back to the moon, eventually onto the surface, to a lunar gateway space station that stays in orbit around the moon, but eventually to get humans on to Mars.
Astronaut Glover is the pilot with responsibility for operating the spacecraft, which is set to launch from Kennedy Space Center in Florida with 3 others on board. And city leaders are once again talking about how to address those teen takeovers. Just a week ago, chaos erupted in the Loop. Now folks living in Hyde Park are upset after hundreds of teens ran through the streets, leaping from car to car, shattering car windows and leaving huge dents near 52nd and Dorchester Monday night. So far, police say one teen, a 16-year-old, was arrested and charged with unlawful possession of a weapon, disorderly conduct, and failure to obey police. Officers also issued several citations for curfew violations. And the Supreme Court is set to hear arguments today on birthright citizenship, and President Trump plans to be there. The justices will hear arguments on Trump's executive order limiting birth citizenship, in which he signed on the first day of his second term. There is no record of a sitting president ever attending the high court session. Tonight, Trump is also set to address the nation with an update on the war in Iran. Also, it looks like Sean Diddy Combs is getting 10 days knocked off his prison sentence. The rap mogul is currently serving 50 months for convictions on 2 prostitution-related charges, and according to prison records, will be released April 15th, 2028. He's serving his time in a low-security prison in New Jersey. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 9:34.
I've tried everything to stand out at work. Donuts, a company coffee blend, even dressed as the company mascot for Halloween.
There's an easier way, a ComEd facility assessment. Their engineer gave my company free insights and actions that saved us $732,000 on energy. Easy, right?
Learn how ComEd can help you save at ComEd.com/facility assessment. ComEd, powering lives.
Where's the report?
Savings will vary based on customers' usage and rating.
Yeah.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray.
Congressman Jonathan Jackson on the line.
That's all it means is that America will come and get you. It's about the oil. They bombed in Iran, they got oil. They bombed in Iraq, they got oil. They bombed in Libya, they got oil. Now they bombed in Venezuela, they got oil. They even came after Diddy because he had oil.
Come on, Congressman. That was a great setup. That was good. That was good.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hello, Chicagoland. This is your main man, Tio, Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman. I'm inviting all of my friends, associates, and colleagues to tune in to WVON, the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM for the Tio, Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman Show. This show will cover all the hottest topics, including politics, reducing gun violence, and so much more, right here every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. Thank you.
This report is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Ready for a home refresh? Now's the season to finally make it happen. At Ashley Spring Savings Event 72-hour sale, save up to 25% on your entire purchase with select spring styles, starting at just $4.99 and only at Ashley's.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Things on the roadways have quieted down quite a bit. Inbound Ryan down to 17 minutes from 95th Street to downtown. Outbound just fine. The Bishop Ford, nice and quiet. Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, you do want to look out for an accident right now. We're getting a reading of that in real time. It's off to the shoulder. We'll update you on that a little bit later. But travel time's not bad at all. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, smooth sailing each way. As you make your way along to Stevenson, still about a 40-minute trip from I-355 to DuSable Drive, outbound 30. The Eisenhower down to 50 from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, outbound moving well. And the inbound side of the Kennedy down to 40 minutes from over here to downtown, now a 20-minute trip getting to the airport. Taking a look at our weather, cloudy and colder today. Temperatures all morning long in the 30s. The National Weather Service says we're going to top out in the low to mid 40s today. Currently still 36 at Midway, 36 in South Holland, and 36 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Anna Flanoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:38. And listen, guys, it's WVON's birthday. That's right, 63 years. Isn't that special? I like to think so. Birthdays are always special. And this milestone has been no easy feat. There's a reason why I'm asking the question of the day. It is Fired Up Wednesday, and I want you all to be fired up in a special way, a celebratory way, of course. But in retrospect, hindsight is 2020. The question of the day is, what value do you have in radio? It was not long ago, my CEO was up on the Hill defending the right for radio to exist. The attempt to manufacture cars without AM would essentially kill not only WVON, but talk radio as we know it. It was her leadership alongside a few others. Remember, believe Black women, that took to our nation's capital and before a body, a congressional body, that with a swift of a pen could have written away what we know and believe is our everyday. Some of you all wake up with us every day. In fact, I was at an event yesterday. Shout out to the Kidd family. And I sat next to his amazing wife as we concluded a Women's Day program. She said to me, "My husband listens to you every day." She said, "I should have recognized you because of your voice." And I leaned in and I told her, I said, at certain events, I try hard not to speak, especially when it's not even about me. But for that alone, I was grateful. I was humbled because I'm always amazed at so many folk when I do interact in the public that support, listen, and pay so much homage to WVON. So the phone lines are yours, 773-591-1690. But as we are fired up for class this session, I want us to understand my question of the day in terms of what do you value in radio, right? Because it can't just be our CEO, as fierce as she is, fighting to defend radio. It has to be all of us. And this celebration is one of many milestones, but it's been no easy feat to get here. And it's because of you all listening as to why we're still here. I'm going back to the phone lines because I have a special guest that's waiting. Let's talk to Evan. Evan, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hello, is that me?
Yes, sir, it is you.
Listen, my dad, I'm Brother Evans. My dad, I'm only speaking for myself. My dad broadcast on the Fellowship Baptist Church. They broadcast on WVON for a number of years. And you guys were so good to us, Fellowship and Clay Evans. And it was you allowed Clay Evans to reach a lot of folks, a lot of people. I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for the church, not speaking for the family, not speaking for what I know, what I've seen. You've allowed the fellowship to grow that way. And Clay Evans to reach a lot of people. I remember going through rehearsals. Late at night, you all would play Martin Luther King speeches. And that gave us morals. That instilled, you always did that late at night. You would play Mahalia Jackson as you was going off the air. Girls, I wish you had more. We need more of that. When I think about what's happening now in kids, whether it's high power, acting a fool, or going downtown, we need more style. We need direction. We need it terribly. And the voice of America, our only voice, I wish you all would go back to that. You all really helped us back in those days. And we need you more now than ever. Happy birthday, guys.
I appreciate that. If you can hold tight, I want to have my board operator, Matt, receive some information if you'd be so kind to share it, and I will follow up with you because I agree. Let's talk to Will. Will, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Happy birthday, WVON, and good morning to you, Cleopatra.
Good morning.
I'm going to give my perspective from a former West Sider's view. Rufus is the only, if I say certain streets, Rufus knows because we went to kind of the similar rival high schools. So my earliest, I'm 61 years old this year, God willing. My earliest awareness of WVON was my dad. He had a 1971 Cadillac with a brown and yellow WVON sticker on the back with a mic on it. And I was like, what's WVON? So at that time, I didn't get to talking. All I just heard was people talking on the radio. And as I am a truck driver now, I listen to you guys from morning to night, from wake up to going to sleep. But in my own selfish ways, I'm going to say this because I'm a South Sider now. But the thing that I loved about WVON, I wanted to go to this town. I was from the West Side. I didn't know anything about Stony Island. I know we were talking about the traffic lane.
Yes.
Bike lane. And I just knew Funtown was on Stony Island. I heard that jingle, and that's the only thing I listened for. I'm like, can you take me and my brothers? It's Funtown. So I thank you, VON, for being part of my life. And the biggest thing I get out of radio now is the knowledge from you guys. And you guys represented us so well during the late great Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. It was like family talking to us, Cleopatra. I thank you guys for that. You guys might have thought you were doing your job, but it was like I wasn't able to go to the memorial, but it was like we were there appreciate that, and I thank you for that. Sometimes we got to give you guys your flowers for what you do for us. I thank you.
No, that means a lot. I thank you too. I'm actually wearing my my hoodie in tribute to Reverend. When I think of him, I wear it. Listen, guys, I appreciate it, and we're going to celebrate all day, I promise you. But I have to make a quick pivot, so class, buckle up. Sonia and I have been thumbing through this scathing report from our very own Cook County Treasurer, Maria Pappas, who has the show They're After Me on Monday, Black Houses Matter. And I, since inception, I've always listened to it. And I've always listened and gotten very angry, particularly when it comes to the impact of Black wards. And I can only look at it from a lens of my own or those that neighbor me. And anytime we talk about the impact of Black people, Black families losing wealth building opportunities, particularly through the lens of home ownership, I get even angrier because we only have a few modalities that enable us to do that unless you have multiple streams of income. And even with that being said, how do you grow it, right? So you still have to have an entity that will enable you to grow it. And the one that has always been a consistent attribute to do that is home ownership because of equity. And that is predicated off, community and the collective outlook on comps and all of these things, right? So there are contributing factors. However, the wealth that you install in your home can be measured from a sole proprietor standpoint, if you will. With that being said, one thing about Pappas, I got to give it to her. She ain't no punk. And I've told her this to her face. And what I like about her more than anything is her independency. And I am going to lean on that to call a thing a thing. And the title of this report is How State Laws Fail to Stop Decades of Skyrocketing Property Taxes. Now, through the year plus of me commanding this ship, I ain't no punk either, but I've also leaned in on the harm that I have bore witness to as an organizer, operative, whatever hat I'm rocking, to Black families and the Southland and throughout Chicago and Chicagoland areas who houses, if they haven't paid for it already, they pay for it 2-3-fold. And that's a true story. And the impact of the property taxes and the increase, sometimes out of nowhere, has rocked their stability to either stay in their homes, to continue to reside in Cook County, and or the state within itself. With that being said, of course, we had to tap some talent from Pappas' office to walk us through their findings. And this report is in grave detail, and it even examines TIF, tax incremental funding, which I tend to lean on myself, particularly when I want to know what the hell they're doing with it, particularly where I live, right? And oftentimes, based on the prerogative of the alderman and or the elected official who commands that bucket of money, they can divert it how they see fit, which is also problematic. On the live line to indulge us is Hal Daradick. He is a researcher and director of research in the Cook County Treasurer's Office. And we've had Hal before. I'm grateful for your time today, Hal. It's a very special day. Although it's WVON's birthday, it is also Fired Up Wednesday. And I need for folks to lean in with their ears to hear what you have to say. So thank you so much for coming on to the Cleopatra Show.
Always my pleasure, and happy birthday to WVON. You guys are almost as old as I am.
Well, there it is. So before we go to a break, I just want you to give us an intro, give us a teaser, if you will, to this scathing report.
Yeah, we looked at the increases in property taxes over the last 30 years. Of course, they increase every year. But what we found was that the property tax increases have added 182% to the total amount billed every year county. Now, you might think, well, over 30 years, that's inflation. Well, no, inflation was 91%. So taxes increased at double the rate of inflation, despite laws that are intended to hold it to inflation or even less. And so we broke that down and examined why there are multiple causes. As you said, the study's pretty detailed. But the point of the whole thing, or the exercise, wasn't just out of curiosity. The point was we knew that taxes were increasing inexorably to the point where Illinois last year had the highest residential property tax rate in the United States, where Chicago has the highest commercial property tax rate and the second highest industrial rate. It's an untenable situation, and this study makes a call for reform. There are many ideas out there that are potentially viable to substitute for property taxes certain other types of far more progressive income. And of course, there's the spending issue. As much as the black communities in the west and south sides were affected this year by the shift in assessments, the underlying cause of all tax increases is the fact that governments keep asking for more and more and more. So even if those shifts didn't occur, people would still be getting hit hard. So,
well, hold that thought, because I'm up against a break. Listen, guys, we've tapped Cook County Treasurer Office, Maria Papa's office, for her top researcher. That's right. Hal comes back to us to expound upon their findings. In over 30 years, how the state has failed to stop decades of skyrocketing property taxes. And he just unearthed that we're trending. We're the number one for residential property tax increase in the country. And looking out my front door, I am trying to understand how and where does it go. When we return, we'll ask Hal directly. You don't want to miss this.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Remember when getting your hair done wasn't just a beauty ritual, but a bonding experience? From hot combs in Grandma's kitchen to laughter in the local beauty salon, it's a journey rooted in love, legacy, and style. Join Nidra Williams, owner of Solo Beauty Supply, for the business of black hair Tuesday nights from 9 to midnight. She's bringing the sisterhood back. One story, one strand at a time. It's more than hair, it's heritage. Join the sisterhood. Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. on The Talk of Chicago, WVON. It's gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON, Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there, WVON.
April 20th, recognized nationwide as 420, is more than a day. It's a chance to turn over a new leaf. Join Rufus Williams and New Leaf, Illinois for a special takeover of the WVON morning show at 8 a.m. Hear how New Leaf is helping people across Illinois clear cannabis and eligible non-cannabis records through free legal help and information. If you or someone you love has been held back by a past arrest, this conversation could open the door to a fresh start. Learn more at newleafillinois.org. Tune in April 20th at 8 a.m. for the New Leaf, Illinois takeover, only on WVON.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
Hey everybody, this is Kendall Moore, the Kendall Moore Show, getting you from your work week to your weekend each and every Friday night from 6 until 9 p.m. I get you from your work week to your weekend. Tabernacle.
Kendall Moore, radio for the next generation on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 9:56. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And don't break my heart, Illinois, Cook County, or should I say Crook County? I don't know, you tell me, but looking at this report, it was scathing. On the live line to indulge us in conversation is Hal Daradick. He's a researcher fresh out of Maria Papa's office. That's right, the Cook County treasurer. And his skill sets are very vast. He's been on the show with us before. He's the director of research in the Cook County treasurer's office. And we're discussing how state laws failed to stop decades of skyrocketing property taxes. And throughout the year plus of me commanding this ship, we've discussed this in grave detail. But this report is thicker than a Snicker. So Hal, talk to us about these findings are explosive, particularly when you say we are the number one residential property tax.
We were last year.
Okay, last year.
New Jersey pulled ahead, but we're in this race with.
Oh, so we just lost second.
We don't really want to be in that contest.
No, that's a New Jersey. First of all, the wealth of New Jersey and comparison and just the quality of life, I just think is just worlds different than where we're at here in Chicago.
I believe you're correct.
Absolutely. Worlds different. Okay. As I watched Senator Booker command the ship to ask them to support his reelection for another 6 years, the deliverables there don't equate to where we're at. Like I said, I could look out my front door of my home and I try very hard to figure out where my tax dollars are going. And I stumble across 153 school districts that are a part of a funding pool to the tune of $10+ billion.
That's about 55% of your tax bill in general. That's certainly true in the city. It's almost exactly that. And to be fair, school districts are facing all kinds of pressures, whether it's the low pension funding, which CPS has to pay far more than the suburban school districts do, or whether it's the fact that the state of Illinois provides less public education funding than any other state in the union, if you factor out the payments or pension, 24%. And so what that means is that the school districts, if they want to provide certain levels of education, they have to turn to the property tax. And I'm not saying there may be some room for fat there, maybe some room for school consolidation, et cetera. But so something's got to give in the whole structure of the tax system, because the property tax, as you elucidated earlier, can really have a dramatic negative impact on a person's generational wealth. And it's just not right. So there are other more, whether it's an expanded sales tax that captures high-end services, not your haircuts, stuff, maybe your $200 haircut, and or a graduated income tax where people pay due to their ability to pay, not just because maybe they were fortunate enough to have a home in their family for 20 or 30 years. So something's got to give here, and they could also tighten up the rules, even though they have a law called the Property Tax Extension Limitation Law, PTEL. For short, we're just supposed to limit all school tax increases and many municipal and park district, et cetera, tax increases to the rate of inflation or 5%, whichever is less in a given year. There's all these loopholes to get around that home rule bill?
Well, hold tight, because you're spilling a lot of the tea. We're discussing the findings out of Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas' office with her researcher. He's the director of research. And like I said, this report is thicker than a Snicker. And I meant that in terms of its finding. And we're going to tiptoe into the language of loopholes, right? And how did we, whether we're one or two, this is a race that do you want to be in terms of paying the most in the country for residential property taxes? And how did it skyrocket? How did we get here in over 30 years? When we return, we're going to continue to talk to Hal. Susan, I see you on the live line. We're going to bring you into the conversation. And by the way, it's WVON's birthday, 63 years. What do you say to that? Be sure to like and share the show. We'll be back.
Gray skies and 36 degrees on this Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. I'm in Illinois, and in the headlines, Chicago's iconic WVON radio station turns 63 today. And living legends, George Daniels of George's Music Room and bluesman Billy Branch stopped by to celebrate. NASA's Artemis 2 mission is set to make history today by sending the first black astronaut on the moon mission.
You did? Oh, okay.
Victor Glover Jr. spoke
That's why I wanted it.
exclusively on WVON this morning. And today,
That's a big
President
damn
Trump
deal.
attends the Supreme Court arguments on birthright citizenship. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the iHeartRadio app and WVON 1690 AM Irwin, Chicago. It's 10:01.
I'm Vanessa Tyler on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Corrupt mail-in ballots. We're the only country in the world that does it that way. Corrupt as hell.
No question how the president feels about mail-in ballots. Even without proof of widespread fraud, he just signed an executive order to change what he calls the legendary cheating. The Secretary of Homeland Security will create a list of those eligible to vote in each state. The U.S. Postal Service will only send absentee ballots to voters on each state's approved mail-in ballot list. Fill up your car, empty out your pockets. Gas prices now averaging $4, a real pain at the pump.
It's crazy. It's like, you put your gas in your car, and, instead of the needle going this way, the needle goes that way. So, it is tough.
Lisa Little, who is also black, says she cannot top off. It's too expensive. So she keeps her eye on how much she is putting in.
So I stopped at 10 because that's all I can do right now because the prices are just crazy.
Up more than $1 compared to a month ago, and the first time it's topped $4 a gallon for regular in years. The reason, of course, the war and the fact the Trump administration has not yet come up with a strategy to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, from which a portion of the world's oil flows. A black man wants to die now. Jeremy Williams was scheduled to be put to death anyway, just a matter of time, on Alabama's death row. He is convicted of the most horrendous of crimes, raping and murdering an innocent 5-year-old girl back in 2021, leaving the lifeless body of Kamari Holland with a rope around her little neck in a basement in Phoenix City, Alabama. Officials say Williams is asking for a selfish reason, knowing there are rules in prison. Anyone doing time for hurting a child is a target.
My opinion is Jeremy don't want to face 20 years of running from inmates. His whole mindset is he would rather end it today than spend the next 25 or so years looking over his shoulder because of what he did.
Looks like he may get his wish. The Russell County DA says he is now moved to the front of the execution list. It's like being inside a horror movie on fire. That's how passengers felt on board that Delta flight from Sao Paulo, Brazil, heading to the U.S. destination, Atlanta. They're screaming because they are in the air and the left engine is a ball of fire. Luckily, the skillful pilots were able to level off and begin an immediate descent. The plane landed, the fire department put out the fire, and reports are no one was hurt. Delta looking into why the engine fell apart soon after the plane took off. For more on these stories and international, national, state, and local news impacting the Black community, listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app or log on to BINnews.com. I'm Vanessa Tyler on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
passion, and breathtaking athleticism of Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater live at the Auditorium April 24th through the 26th under the direction of newly appointed artistic director Alicia Graff Mack. 1 legendary dance company, 2 unforgettable programs, 3 spectacular days, and 4 incredible performances. From powerful storytelling to electrifying movement, enjoy Ailey's 5 Chicago premieres, contemporary favorites, and beloved masterpieces. Tickets are on sale now at auditoriumtheater.org. Secure your seats today. Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work.
Hey, you know what I'm
Faithfully,
saying?
powerfully. We'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work. Because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/meetingthemoment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
This report is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Ready for a home refresh? Now's the season to finally make it happen. At Ashley Spring Savings Event 72-hour sale, save up to 25% on your entire purchase with select spring styles, starting at just $4.99 and only at Ashley's.
WVON traffic and weather now.
More information on that accident along the Tuskegee Airmen Memorial on the outbound side. It looks like that accident just cleared up as we were going to report where it is. So obviously nothing really major going on there. Traffic moving well in both directions. As you make your way along the Bishop Ford, no problems, no delays either way. The Ryan, much better, down to 17 minutes from 95th to downtown outbound, pretty quiet. Things are also pretty quiet along DeSable Lakeshore Driveway. Taking a look at our weather, gray and colder today. Temperatures hovering in the mid-30s so far this morning. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high somewhere around the low to mid-40s. It's 36 at Midway, 36 in South Holland, and 36 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm NF Lenore on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. WVON, honoring 63 years and building what's next.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
And we are back here listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:08, and it's WVON's birthday. Happy birthday. Many more. Hey, guys, where are you on the spectrum of the value of radio? Let me tell you why you should lean in with your ears. It is because it's Fired Up Wednesday. Class started on time. We're going to end on time. And we are talking about how state laws failed to stop decades of skyrocketing property taxes. And if you are living through this, I want to hear from you. 773-591-1690. Now, we just learned throughout Cook County, the Chicagoland area, more than 50%, 55% of our taxes go to our school district. And that is comprised of 153 throughout the state. That is huge, right? We're looking from the lens of the county, but this is huge when we talk about the vast majority. And some of these schools, I wouldn't send my dog to. He's no longer a puppy. Chewbacca is 10 years old in human years, practically. I wouldn't send him to be trained. And many of you all feel that way because they are not met with equity. So here we are, learning where the money is being distributed because we have the phenomenal researcher, the director of research, fresh out of Papa's office, joining us. He's no stranger to the show. He's a friend of the show. Hal Daradick is still hanging out with us. Hal, I would not send Chewbacca to some of these schools, Chewbacca or Curly. We have two dogs. He looks like a Wookiee. I would not send him because it's not met with equity at all. So here it is. I'm a mom, 3 under 5. Pray for me. And I have the biggest challenge of my life trying to figure out what school do I bless my son with. And to know that 55% of what I pay into is to these schools is troublesome.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, a lot of that is going to the pension fund because it was underfunded for so many years.
And through those years, let's point out who. Wait. Because here's where folks get it twisted. This is before the Johnson administration. This is before the Lightfoot administration. This is before.
To the Daley administration.
Which one?
Richard M.
Okay.
And what they did was they were 100% funded in their pension fund just 20 years ago. And so when Daley took over the school system, Paul Vallis decided, well, we're going to take all the money that was going into the pension fund, the separate levy, and wrap it into our other levy for education, and we're going to take a break from putting money in the pension fund.
Now, this is the same Paul Vallis that just ran for mayor nearly, is it 3 years ago almost?
Almost. Yeah.
Almost. So it was because of this decision. All right, it's 3 years ago. So, right, because we're embarking upon it in May. Because of that decision, nearly 2 decades ago, we not only still can't get right, we've paid a iron price, correct?
Oh, it is, because you got underfunded, so it means you have to put more in to bring it up to a level where the people that earn those pensions can actually be paid. And so there's a special levy they had to enact in order to pay for the pensions. And that levy is not limited by the PTEL tax limitation law. And so that is driving a lot of the increases because, of course, they increase their levy to the maximum every year.
And for those that are trying to understand, what exactly is a levy?
A levy is a fancy word, and it's not, what you're blocking the flood with here. It's a fancy word for the amount of money that a taxing agency, school district, city, park district, whatever, seeks in taxes every year. So it's part of their budget. They set the levy. There are limits on how much they can increase it. But as I said, there's lots of loopholes to those limits, which make it go even higher. And so they send that to the clerk, and the clerk says, well, if it meets the limits, that's what we're going to tax for you, for your agency next year. So levy is basically the requested amount in property taxes that a taxing agency makes every year. And when I first started being interested in property taxes, there was a wise old politician who told me, because people talk about the assessments, and that shifts the burden, and that's important. But they talk about rates, which really the rate's just a function of the levy. It doesn't mean that much. The levy, and so what he told me was, it's the levy, stupid. That's how you understand taxes. It's the levy, stupid. So, and that's what this study is all about.
And then, but here's the deal, Hal, and I have a few calls I'm going to make sure we incorporate. It's not levy, it's levies, plural, because
right. School district,
right, I'm
district,
correct. The teacher in me had to absolutely. It is a multifaceted approach of how we divvy up the pot of how we're paying out for our stay. Right, I stay in this county, I stay in the state, I stay in the city. So levies, because you're looking at, we spend time unpacking one sister agency, and I have to have you back because there's several. As I've tried to explain, and I love I love politics, right? And I love the landscape of it. And in this landscape, we're looking through the lens, guys, from a municipal level. But we're also speaking countywide and across the state, because the article itself says how state laws failed to stop decades of skyrocketing property taxes.
Yes,
so this is state.
Tax law governs everything else.
Correct, because when our mayor, the executor of this city, is trying to make a change or trying to appeal a lobby, he himself had to go to the General Assembly. All right, I need for us to understand who holds the purse strings. It's truly your governor, right? This is bigger, this is broader. It's your General Assembly body, right? Which is why you have to lobby your state representatives and your state senators to hear you, to either act with the pen or either make some tweaks to some amendments, if you will, to what is already in place to relieve our stay in the state. Did I put that correct, Hal?
That's right. That's right. I mean, the city does have certain powers that are already granted to it by the state. The state can take them away. They have home rule powers, so they can increase their property taxes without limitation if they choose to do so.
Well, let's take Susan's call. Susan, welcome to WVON and join us in the conversation with Hal.
Thank you both. Ooh, so many questions. Let me just get this right off the bat. Our new proposed lieutenant governor had a hand in making things worse for people because he shortened the time. He and Daniel Biss and a third party, whose name I can't remember, in providing time for the redemption. So instead of it being 2.5 years from when the taxes were sold, I think it's down to 1.5 years to be able to redeem your taxes.
Oh, that's not accurate.
No.
Nope. They changed it.
Well, it's two for residents. It's 2.5 years, and it is typically extended to 3. It's been that way for years.
But they had a negotiation as through them, and I remember it vividly. Apparently not as vividly as I thought I did. Did they have discussions about that?
Well, there are discussions about the whole tax sale system. There was
that was yesterday. We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, the Supreme Court ruling that and it's a separate issue, but it's an important issue
regarding the equity.
The Supreme Court decided that people weren't getting their equity back here in this state and 22 other states if their property were sold for tax, and said no, you have to give that equity back. So they're working on a rewrite of the law. We are actually, and to hopefully make it much more helpful to folks.
So we don't have to worry about political will, because that was the other question that I had. Is there political will there, even though it's such an uproar right now? And the reason I was asking that, sorry to interrupt you, but because of all of the appeals going to the Supreme Court, it's like you can't depend on a solid answer to stay there. It's like, okay, somebody appeals and now we're right back to square one, or
once the Supreme Court weighs in, that's it.
Okay.
There is no appeal to the Supreme Court, although they have gone and they're even trying to make it even stricter. There's another case that they took, but
thank you so much, Susan.
Yeah, so it's that's a whole other complicated issue.
Well, here's the deal. Byron and Anthony would like to join us. I know Anthony definitely does, because Anthony is an avid listener and is my brother from the Chicagoland area. So here's a part of some of where we scalpeled this conversation, how is just the impact has been tremendous on home ownership. I mean, folks, you're talking about skyrocketing bills, 12 to 15,000 in taxes, and it's only escalated throughout their tenure in their homes. So when we come back, we'll continue to talk to Maria Pappas' top director of research, Hal Daradick, who has unpacked a lot of their findings, and it's scathing. But like I said, the same Paul Vallis who ran for mayor, who might have earned your vote 20 years ago, put you in the same boat that you're swimming in that you can't get out of. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Friday night at premieres continues on
No, I
Fox.
had Brandon open
That's
mine and I
as
told him
real
I'm
as
gonna
it
work
is hilarious. This
Tell him to
Friday,
do that.
April 3rd at 7
Oh yeah,
p.m.
tell him to
Don't
take it
miss
outside.
King Boulevard, inspired by a true witty no, but we're talking about streets
Yeah,
named
I
after
mean
Dr.
Brandon
Martin
take it
Luther
outside,
King
put on
Jr. that don't
gloves.
always reflect the dreams they were meant to honor.
All right, let me let them know that we're gonna stay on for 6:30. Then we're gonna
Leslie South.
right.
She's coming to be on phone.
I think she's kind of
One follow one
and
young
then
man living on
Richard
MLK
Steele and then the
Boulevard
young
who
guy.
decides to
They're
change
doing
that,
straight out.
setting out to transform his community into
Oh,
something
why
worthy
she
of
always
Dr.
like
King's legacy. See
Okay,
King
never mind.
Boulevard
CD.
this Friday at 7 p.m. and stay tuned for more
Okay.
dynamic storytelling as the Friday night of premieres continues exclusively on Vaughn
Okay,
TV.
so we'll
Watch on
play the
Roku,
new
Amazon
song
Fire,
for
Apple TV
WVON
Plus,
coming
the
into the
WVON
segment.
app, or
You can say, hey, this is the new WVON song.
Vaughn TV
The
for the
writer,
culture
singer,
by
will not.
on Saturday,
I
watch
thought she was
Martin
going
Luther
over there.
King Jr. Enemies of the Dream
Yeah.
on Vaughn
But
TV.
I didn't know that's what
See
she
how
wanted in the
recently
first place.
declassified
Yeah, I
FBI
didn't know that.
documents
Yeah, he's been on with me before.
suggest a
I
deeper
remember
story
if
and
it was you or
ultimately
not.
Yeah, I mean, because remember when he was trying to get on, he had already had his schedule, so he told me that.
Politicians did it again. They secretly tucked bad policy into the budget.
It's cool.
Now, guess who pays the price?
So if you want to mention all the music was playing from 1960.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Okay. Hey, listen, Brett Kavanaugh just struck down a key point in Trump's argument.
He's there.
I know.
I looked it up, and it says no president has ever showed up at oral arguments for the Supreme Court.
This Saturday,
Matt said,
April
CNN
4th,
said
Faith
that they
Meets
have, but
Finance
it's
on
like
the
200
South
years
Side.
ago.
Spend
I
in the
don't think
Black
he's
is
right.
back.
No, Mary's
All-day
wrong.
family-powered
CNN is wrong
economic
too.
activation
No
led by the
president.
Chatham Business
It's like he's
But he's there to intimidate them. Intimidate them. And I thought nobody could be there but
Drive more than 100 Black-owned
correct.
businesses will
He
line
said,
the
what y'all
streets,
gonna do? Y'all give
serving
me
up
out?
everything from soul food
Justice Robertson Barrett appears skeptical of Trump's case. Yeah, Amy Coney Barrett's gonna need some security.
and again from 2 p.m. to
Hey, look at this light
last
does.
year 100 showed up and nearly $1
It
million.
don't really help here. I'm trying to put it on my phone, but this light makes a
This is
difference.
what economic empowerment looks like in real time.
You look good
Don't
on
just
your
talk about
YouTube channel. I looked at it.
Yeah. I'm getting there.
That's Saturday,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm getting there.
10 a.m.
Now, what I'm gonna do is learn how to. I may not do it live, so I can edit.
I know how to do. It's so funny. I know how to do visual audio. That was on a program called Vega. That's what I had to use on TV. I just didn't just know how to do the audio.
So even with this, I have to take this. I don't have my banner up. Why not? That is wrong. That's cool. But I can take this in the end. There's so many things. We just need to. I just sit out and think. Hey, you didn't tell me if I had to do this thing in person.
Oh no, I talked to the chief. He said why not? Because he said Perry used to never say no. She did it from home on the phone.
Yes, she did.
But from what I hear, I thought I heard Titus said that he was off the
That's 800-478-6430.
So I don't know what's going on. He said he was going to send an email with instructions of what the show would be, but I haven't seen it.
Hey, Chicago.
And it's just
This
an
one is
hour
for you.
crash.
Join OG Mr. Rick for the OG Culture Report every Thursday night from 9 to 12 right here on WVON 1690.
I was going to.
We're talking culture, our
Mine is
stories,
really
streets, politics, entertainment, our struggles, our wins, and the voices that matter. Don't miss it. Every Thursday night, 9 to 12, the OG Culture Report with yours truly, OG Mr. Rick on WVON
Damn,
1690.
long commercial.
That's it. That's all.
Sorry, y'all.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. Guess what, guys? It's WVON's birthday, and we're jamming from music, especially from 1963. Shout out to my super producer for that brilliant idea. I hope you all appreciate it because we are going to celebrate it all day, even though it's Fired Up Wednesday, and we're talking that talk. We are examining how the state laws failed to stop decades of skyrocketing property taxes, and this is straight off the desk of Maria Pappas, who's our Cook County treasurer, via her director of research, who joins us still. Hal Daradick has shared so much time. Hal, we have 2 more calls.
All right.
And, we're right on the money in terms of expounding how we get here. And then before I let you go, I need to understand how do we get out of it. Let's talk to Anthony. Anthony, talk to us. Welcome to WVON. Anthony, let me let you in. There you go.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, Queen Cleopatra. Every time this topic come up, I get really frustrated. Because I didn't heard from tax board members, I didn't heard from tax assessors, I didn't heard from politicians. Everybody want fast apart. Everybody want to talk about how complicated the situation is. Yet still, we're being priced out of our home. I live in the south suburb. I live in Richmond Park. It's a very healthy community, homeowners, not a lot of rentals, and my taxes, I was paying maybe $1,600 a month for my mortgage. My mortgage is skyrocketing to $2,300 a month. My taxes went from $6,400 to $11,800. I did an appeal. It was after my appeal, it was reduced, maybe $400 or $500, but it's still my taxes went from $6,000 to $11,500. No one has that. No one can tell me why we are being taxed so much. I have different people, residents of Chicago, but y'all need to stay in Chicago because y'all got it good compared to us in the south suburbs. Y'all need $800 and $700 tax hike. Compare that to a $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 tax hike that we're dealing with in the south suburbs. No one can answer that question. Why is that?
Well, one thing about it, Anthony, we're going to allow Hal, and I thank you for the call. And Hal, Anthony is always passionate about this. I just want to preface this.
That's good. That's good. In the south suburbs, a lot of what happened there is the last time they reassessed it, the commercial values dropped, so they're paying less. So somebody else has to pay. It's a zero-sum game. It gets shifted to the resident, unfortunately. But here is the catch-22 in the whole thing. The businesses are leaving or locating elsewhere, whether it's across the line in Indiana or in Will County, because the taxes are so much lower in those counties because they're not assessed at 25% versus 10% residential. They're all assessed at the same level, so the amount of businesses pay less. So they'll go across the line because our taxes are so high. And then, but how do you attract them? You got to lower taxes because the best way to ease the burden on everyone is expand the tax base. The more thriving the business community, the less each individual homeowner has to pay. So we're in a real catch-22. They don't want to be here because the taxes are too high, and so you can't expand. So something has got to be done to lower the burden for both businesses and residents, so everybody gets a break.
No, and I appreciate it. In closing, I have to read a paragraph from the scathing report. It said in the early and mid 2000s, then Chicago Mayor Richard M. Daley avoided significant tax hikes, in part by underfunding the city's pension systems. Yet, even with that underfunding, the city faced revenue shortfalls in other areas. In response, Daley sold off city assets, entering a 99-year lease of the Chicago Skyway for $1.83 billion, a 99-year lease of downtown parking garages for $563 million, and a 75-year lease of the city parking meter system for $1.15 billion. Those deals help daily pay for Millennium Park and fill city budget holes, but none of the money generated was used to bolster the city's 4 pension funds, which continue to rack up significant debt. I want you all to mull over this for class. Hal will have you back expeditiously. Today is WVON's birthday. I want to keep a celebratory mood, but it is Fired Up Wednesday, and I thank you for your time today.
Oh, God, glad to be here. I hope I didn't bring the birthday party down here.
No, we're just gonna figure out how to keep paying for it. Looking at the budget, I don't know, Hal. That's gonna be your research assignment. Come back to us so we can have a better party, Hal.
Okay, thanks, Cleopatra.
Awesome. So listen, guys, I want you all to hold tight. The phone lines are yours, 773-591-1690. When we come back, I have a special gift and announcement as we continue to celebrate WVON in a special way. You don't want to miss this.
Cloudy and cooler today with a daytime high in the 40s. I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. Chicago's iconic WVON radio station turns 63 today. Living legends. George Daniels of George's Music Room and blues man Billy Branch stopped by this morning to celebrate.
Chicago became the capital of the world.
Will you tell Sayan to stop by? Tell Sayan to come here real quick.
By the artists, many of them coming up from Mississippi, including Hollywood, Muddy Waters, Little Walter, and
Hey, is it Dallas? And Stevie was on the stage with me. Yeah.
WVON was founded by broadcasting pioneer, the late Purvis Spann, the blues man, along with partners Wesley South and legendary radio personality Herb Kennedy and other greats. The station's roots grew deeply out of the civil rights movement and was the voice and source of information for local and national affairs, especially during the riots that followed the death of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Chicagoans I spoke to yesterday are also celebrating with WVON today.
My name is Joyce Haynes. I'm from Maryland, and I want to wish WVON a happy birthday. What do you like about WVON? The conversations that they have, the information that they give.
Now, she's joining us.
We will be sharing and talking more about WVON's history throughout the day. City leaders are once again talking about how to address those teen takeovers. Just a week ago, chaos erupted in the Loop. Now folks living in the Hyde Park neighborhood are upset after hundreds of teens flooded the streets, leaping from car to car, shattering car windows near 52nd March was Friday night. So far, police say one teen, a 16-year-old, was arrested. Barry Williams has more.
I'm going to figure out how to get it on my phone, so that's the next task. Stevie is with Chicago Votes. How you feeling?
I can't just leave it up to the school. I can't just leave it up to institution. I can't just leave it up to the public space to create accountability. That's a responsibility for all of us.
And later today, NASA Air Miss 2 mission is set to make history by sending the first black astronaut on a moon mission. Astronaut Victor Glover Jr. spoke exclusively with WVON's Rufus Williams and explained the purpose of the mission.
This is our campaign to not only send humans back to the moon, eventually onto the surface, to a lunar gateway space station that stays in orbit around the moon, but eventually to give humans on to Mars.
Astronaut Glover is the pilot with responsibility for operating the spacecraft, which is set to launch from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, with 2 others on board later today. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON, traffic and weather updates. WVON News Time, 10:35.
I'm so glad it went the way that it did. And then I did see Chris Tucker.
So the Obamas didn't. The Obama presidential center opened in June.
But I didn't want nothing to drink.
Chicago is more than history. It's
I
black
saw him
history.
in he was at the
WVON.
Hard Rock again. Remember, I was struggling like.
Oh, so he was at Rockford Indian? I've tried everything to stand out of work. Donuts, a company coffee
I give him a hard 7 to be nice, 6
There's
on
an
the low end.
easier way. A comment facility assessment. Their engineer gave my company free insights and actions
He opened
that
the
saved
show
us
talking about the
$732,000 on energy. Easy, right?
Learn how ComEd can help you save at ComEd.com/energy.
That was like 5 years ago.
ComEd, powering lives.
So
Savings
he's
vary
gonna
based
play
on
the
customer
new
usage
song
and rate.
coming back.
It's
And it's by
gospel with Pam
Rand
Morris Walton, your
He'll be
gospel
on with
sister,
Matt
on WVON,
Rand
Sundays 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your
Oh
journey.
yeah,
I'll see you
I
there.
heard. Yeah, you welcome to
WVON.
listen. It's nice. But yeah, so I don't want to give too much away, but my man's locked up our phone, so we're trying to figure out why. He locked up our phone.
Because he didn't want people to know he's still telling them old jokes. And so he wants people to buy tickets to find out what he was talking about
But
at the next show.
They was did he ever call you back?
At 7 a.m.
No.
on the Talk in
I'm
Chicago,
a
1690
follower. I'm a
WVON.
follower.
But it's kind of weird because he didn't email me back.
This report is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Ready for a home refresh? Now's the
Yeah,
season to
because you
finally
want the
make it
original
happen.
connection,
At Ashley
but
Spring
then
Savings
call your
Event,
guy
72-hour
and
sale.
ask
That's what I
Save
mean.
up to
if he
25%
has been
on
in
your
office
entire
or
purchase with selection
I'm
of
gonna do
styles
it that way,
starting at
then I'm
just
because
$4.99
she'll
and
tell
only
him
at Ashley's.
the inside more to get that out.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't know how much,
Traffic and
you know,
weather.
Troy will see
No
why
major
he,
changes
or
in
he
your
hasn't
travel
got the
time, just a
email,
couple
blah, blah,
incidents you
whatever.
need to know about on the outbound side of the Ryan. You do want to look out for a stall. It's on the exit ramp
He's talking about,
onto the Stevenson Expressway. It is off to the side. And as you make your way
You
on the
get it?
outbound side of the
I'm
Kennedy,
like,
you look out for an accident. It's right
what?
on Burn Circle.
I
Making
told
that
you.
trip to the airport in 31 minutes.
Hey
Taking a
man,
look at our
everything got to
weather,
play
a
out.
gray day and
Oh,
chilly.
I'm in
Temperatures
Mercer, but I
lingering in
had
the
an
30s so
absolute
far. The
blast.
National Weather
You know,
Service
I
says we're
guess
headed to a
just
daytime
an
high somewhere in
appreciation
the low
for a
mid
day
40s.
out, and everything worked
Currently,
out
we're at
well. Like we
36
got
at
a real
Midway.
dope
It's
space
36
to
in
eat. Got to
Eaglewood
listen to music
and
and
36
work.
degrees here
Too.
at the Talk of
Arthur, it
Chicago.
was really good.
That's a look at traffic and weather
Yeah,
now. I'm Inferno
and
Lane
like
on
I
the
said, I
Talk of
told everybody,
Chicago,
I didn't want
1690
people to drive probably
WVON.
in closer because I ain't want everybody to be like, I ain't telling me. Blah, blah, blah. I just was
And
like,
now
oh,
back to the
that's
Cleopatra Show
20,
on the
22.
Talk of
Listen to
Chicago,
it.
1690 WVON.
In the heart of 63, a melody was born. Leonard and Phil, with a dream to dawn. Chess breakers, magic, R&B and blue. From the south side, the rhythm infused. Spinning records, setting the tone. A station with soul, a voice of its own. But as the city rose, so did the call. WVON stood strong through it all. WVON, the voice of the street. The voice of the street. From the blues to the soul. Where hearts beat. When hearts beat. When silence fell. Silence fell. You raised the sound. Raised the sound. From the heart of Chicago. The heart of Chicago. You stood your ground. Stood your ground. Yeah. Not just music, but a beacon of light. When the struggle was real, you gave us might. Marches and dreams. Justice and peace. WVON brought the voices that wouldn't cease. Dr. King spoke and the airwaves carried the dreams of a people, the burden they buried. From the church to the corner, from the night to the dawn. WVON was the echo, the enduring song. Yeah. WVON, the voice of the time. The voice of the time. From the struggle and the triumph. The struggle and the triumph. The rhythm and the rhyme. You turn the dive into a pathway of hope. A pathway of hope. From the soul of the city. The soul of the city. You gave us the scope, yeah. Gave us the scope. Chicago's politics. History stage. Harold Washington's victory. A brand new page. You lent your voice to the people's fight. A city transformed from day to night. And then a young senator found his way through the airwaves. He spoke and swayed. Barack Obama, the future clear. WVON, made the vision clear. From the voice of the Negro to the nation's call.
A children's part gonna come out.
To justice for all. You shaped the sound. Shaped the sound. You shaped the day. Shaped the day. WVON. You paved the way. Through the
C-SPAN. Cooper's lead, WVON still plans to seed. A station that's more than just a dial. A home for the people, mile after mile. What started in the blues now speaks to the heart. WVON is a work of art. WVON. The voice of the nation. From the roots of the blues to the celebration. When history
They should have spliced it.
you answer the
But this is his debut.
forever in blue. So turn that dial. Let the soul play. WVON. Forever leading the way. From 1963 to the end of time.
And we are back. You are listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:41, and the debut of WVON's new song. You just heard it right here, right now. Give us a call, 773-591-1690. You just heard the resume as to why I work for WVON. Listen, guys, we're up live on Facebook. Be sure to like and share the show. I have a special roundtable that I'm bringing to you as we just debuted WVON's song on WVON's birthday, 63 years of Black excellence. And here's my guest. Retired Judge Leslie South is the daughter of Wesley South. Mr. Wesley South co-founded WVON alongside Purvis Spann, the bluesman, and a few others, and they helped to shape the station as the platform for community engagement, politics, and activism. Alongside her is Richard Steele. He's a former DJ with WVON, and he was a part of the same influential radio scene as figures like Don Cornelius and other personalities in Black community. In addition to that, joining me via StreamYard is Stevie Vallis. He's a part of the community activist, a fellow millennial, who is a part of Chicago Votes. He is alongside with civic engagement, criminal justice reform, and political power with youth, especially among Black and brown communities. I'd like to thank all three of you all for joining me. And I am definitely going to tip my hat to Judge South. Thank you so much for joining us. What do you think about the new WVON song?
I think it's beautiful. I was surprised. I didn't know that there was a song in the making, but it is, who sings that?
Rondrea.
Rondrea. Okay. Is there a way that it can be purchased?
I think we are working on that as we speak. It just debuted today, and I definitely wanted to make sure I captivated. So you think it's worthy to be purchased? There it is.
There it is, but it's right on target. It's beautiful. It incorporates all the information about WVON for people who are not familiar with our radio station. But I loved it. That's all I can say. I absolutely loved it.
Absolutely, and thank you for that. How about you, DJ Steele? Richard Steele is on the live line.
I agree with Judge South. I mean, I heard it this morning earlier on when Rufus played it during his show, and I was inspired. I don't know who put that together, but that was absolutely incredible. What a work of art that is. It's amazing. And it tells a story that should be told, and I think it does an incredible job of doing that. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
Rondrea is the creator, and he's been on with me. He'll be on with my colleague, Matt McGill, so I want you all to stay tuned to that. So much talent that pours through the station. Last but not least, Stevie, what's your input on our new song?
Smooth.
One word. See, that's that millennial. Smooth.
You're right.
Come on through. Too smooth. I know, right? And now I will admit the millennial in me, I after 3 minutes, I said, oh, okay, we could have spliced this down. So, we're going to splice it down as we go. But I wanted us to understand and appreciate the magnitude, because as Judge South just expounded upon, it tells the story. And stories can't always be truncated, as the two of you all know, because you were here from, I won't say beginning to end, but where does your story begin, Judge South, with WVON?
Well, and it went on air April 1st, 1963. And it was the first type of radio station that this country had ever seen. Now, my father, Wesley South, had a call-in talk show. Most of the format was music, R&B, but his was the informative part of the station, and it brought a new quality to the radio air. And most importantly, it brought the civil rights movement, which was burgeoning at that point, into the homes of at least the Chicago who heard the show. Most of the information from the civil rights movement people garnered from the 6 o'clock news, but my father interviewed people who were actually involved in the movement, like Dr. King, Julian Bond, Medgar Evers. Actually, he interviewed Medgar Evers 5 days before his assassination. And the station had only been on the air about 2 months. Evers died in June of 1963.
And I think that that's profound, and I want to put a pin in that, because we're going to circle back to that, because the core of what your father contributed is the foundation of what we're bringing every day now through the evolution from playing music to our various shows. I think his spirit is reflected in all of what we do to this day. How about you? And I say DJ Steele, but what was your DJ name, Richard?
It was Richard Steele.
Oh, it just was, okay, you had the two names. Okay.
As a matter of fact, I used to do a show produced by a Sandra Draper. Were you related to her?
I would have to ask. I'm married to the Draper. Sandra Draper, I would have to ask my husband.
Okay, yeah, Wesley South hired me, as a matter of fact. Judge South, your dad hired me in, I think it was around 86. And that would be the second time I worked for the radio station. Because I worked for the station earlier as a DJ. And then I came back in around 86, I think it was, as a talk show host. And your dad hired me during that period. And that was a great experience for me. Ty Watsley, who was a newsman and a talk show host, he and I worked together at that point. And one of the great things about your dad was, in doing a talk show, his rules were that you didn't put yourself in the position of being the one who created the opinions about what was being said. You had to get that from the listener. What did the community have to say? What we did was inspire conversation, but not necessarily overrun people with our opinions.
Exactly. That's correct. You're absolutely right. That was Dad.
And then last but not least, and I find that to be juxtaposed to this day. I think everything is opinionated by a lot of influencers in our era, as I'm looking at Stevie. Stevie, what would you say to the history of WVON and its influence in your life?
Its influence in my life is ongoing, I'd say. And especially now, specifically during this transition of Reverend Jackson, I feel within and amongst my peers and amongst the young people that we're engaging this renewed sense of urgency and interest in connecting the movement today to the movement and the work of our history in this city and in the country. And to your point around the influencers, the social media, and the way things move in the digital age now, amongst my peers and the young people we engage with. To get back to the old school, traditional style of information gathering and dialogue and open conversation, I think what WVON provides even to this day and is true to its roots is a space to have thorough dialogue about very complex issues that we as a Black community and we as a Chicago community face. And those things can be, it's hard to really solve and address around certain things in today's digital age of information. So WVON for me is still very relevant. It's part of my ongoing story, my ongoing
Well, thank you for that.
Rita down.
Thank you for that. I definitely am up against a break. We have Judge South, daughter of Wesley South, DJ Richard Steele, and that millennial, you heard that voice there, Stevie Vallis. He's with Chicago Votes. And when we come back, we're going to continue this roundtable because we just debuted our WVON song here on the Cleopatra Show. And it is a profound story, but the story is ongoing. And I definitely want to circle back to those that were there at the onset and some of the more historical attributes of WVON and the vision moving forward. You don't want to miss this.
Cleopatra, coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work, because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/meetingthemoment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection
Hey, you saw my message about the Skylines?
Yeah,
car rental options at no additional cost. Call this for your free quick quote.
yeah.
800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose?
Let's do it Friday.
478-6430.
Funny Clip Fridays should be balanced with emotional distress.
This is your host and life coach, Liddell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Oh,
for
that's fine.
Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So
want to
join
talk to
me
her
as we
as well.
look at supporting you and living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network, VON TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.TV. VON TV. It's cultural content on purpose.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No major changes in your travel times. As you make your way along the Ryan, you're looking at about a 17-minute trip from 95th Street to downtown. Outbound, things are just fine. The Bishop Ford Tuskegee Airmen Memorial looks good each way. As you make your way along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, there are no problems or delays to report there. That inbound trip along the Stevenson from I-355 to DuSable Drive, just about 40 minutes, 30 traveling out. A 50-minute trip along the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, outbound, no problems, no delays. The inbound side of the Kennedy, just fine. A 40-minute trip from O'Hare to downtown. Outbound, give yourself 31 minutes. Taking a look at our weather, gray and cooler today. Temperatures pretty much still in the mid-30s. The National Weather Service says we're going to top out somewhere in the low to mid-40s. It's 36 at O'Hare, 36 in Inglewood, and 36 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And Now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And you know, excellent attorney. Dr. Draper, my father-in-law, he defended before her frequently, she said.
So this is a picture of Richard Steele with John Cornelius.
John Cornelius and who?
Richard Steele. I don't know who he can explain it, but he's in the picture with John.
And we are back. Are you digging? Is that Chubby Checker? There it is. We're playing music from 1963. You know why? Because it's WVON's birthday. 63 years. On the live line is retired Judge Ms. Leslie South, daughter of Wesley South, and DJ Richard Steele. And on the StreamYard, there is Stevie Vallis is with Chicago Votes. And we have a photo up, DJ Richard Steele, of you and Don Cornelius and some other guy. We haven't identified that guy, but the fact is we got some legends in the screen. Do you remember this photo?
Yeah, I think that was at Millennium Park when Don Cornelius was being celebrated by Chicago. This is after he had retired, and he passed away shortly after that, but it was the first time his hometown had celebrated him like that, and it was a major event, and a bunch of people out there, and it was truly great to see him being honored like that, you know, by his own folks. So it was a great day. It was a fantastic day, and of course, you know, Dr. Cornelius, his career started at WVON. He at one point was a news person, and he used to do a version of Soul Train on Channel 26 here in Chicago, a local version, and that got expanded to be the national show, which of course became this huge hit. So yeah, I do remember that day. It was fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for that. So listen, I wanted to unpack before I let you all scoot out of here. We want to hold you tight, but I know you got lives. 1963 was a very pivotal moment from the South to the North. And right now we have a beautiful photo in tribute to Judge South on the StreamYard here. And ironically, Sonia and I, my super producer and I, were talking about some of the relevant issues of 1963 that unfortunately are still relevant today. And the systemic and social political challenges from the South to the North were birthed right here to discuss with your father, Wesley South. So housing, segregation and discrimination, school inequality, employment discrimination, political marginalization, policing and racial tensions, and civil rights activism in Chicago. And when we look today, Judge South, in 2026, you know, I know we've made strides, but particularly from the lens of you sitting in that seat as a retired judge, and as I watch President Trump sit in the halls of the Supreme Court, how far did we really come and how much work do we have to do?
Well, the work will always continue because I'm convinced that racism will always live among us. I'm sorry to say it's been with us since the advent of mankind. But we have made strides. Certainly we have elected our first African-American president of the United States. To be honest with you, I never thought that that would have happened during my lifetime, and I'm so glad that my father lived long enough to see that happen. Certainly, we've also elected the first female African-American vice president of the United States. But all of those things that you listed, housing discrimination, employment discrimination, racism, they still exist, and they're in full force. And now they have really become front and center with the new administration in Washington, D.C., I'm sorry to say. And I always wonder what my dad would be saying were he still alive today. He would be appalled at the conditions that are existing now and what the Trump administration is trying to do to this country.
No, and I appreciate that. Last but not least, Stevie, you know, as we look forward to a grander outlook with what Judge South just said, the work continues. I am going to expound upon that. Every generation is in a fight for our lives. What do you say to the future of WVON to come through the lens of fighting for our rights as Americans, as Black Americans surviving this country?
I think we gotta just realize that things that we've been fighting for as leaders, just as relevant today. They just go by different names. They come in a different texture. Sometimes it's exactly the same thing. I was raised by a grandmother who couldn't drink from the same water fountains as white folks, but I'm living in a society that incarcerates overwhelming majority of Black people. And so it's still the same battle. We have to call these things out. We have to be loud. We have to be proud, especially in Chicago, where the epicenter of politics in this country. And so it's important for us to have our voices heard in order to protect our people, Black, poor, brown, marginalized, across the entire country. And I think WVON is an important platform for that.
Well, one thing about it, I'd like to thank you all for having this powerful roundtable. Please don't let this be the last, because Judge South, now I got to have you back because you got some stories to tell. Richard, yeah, absolutely, DJ.
Before we wrap up, I guess it's a generation gap. The third person in that photo that has myself and Dr. Cornelius is Herb Kent.
Got it. We couldn't see it. I would have noticed that. Okay.
The other thing is, WVON's commitment to the community is so strong that when Ossie Davis died, and Ossie Davis, of course, major civil rights guy, the obituary at Malcolm X's funeral, when he passed away, I got a call from WVON because I had done an interview with Ossie Davis on the NPR station I had worked for, and WVON thought the interview was so important that they asked if they could get permission to run it. So I called the station, I didn't work for them anymore, and they said, yeah, and they gave permission. And so the Ossie Davis interview that I did on NPR ran on WVON. So that's the commitment that WVON has to the community, even though it was done at another radio station, they thought it was important enough for the community to hear to get it on the radio. So that's my story.
Well, thank you all. I'm up against a hard break, but I got to let you go. And please come back. That is DJ Richard Steele, retired Judge Lesile South, and Stevie Vallis of Chicago Votes. I thank you all for this powerful roundtable, and we look forward to continuing the celebration of WVON with you. Happy birthday, WVON.
Gray skies and 36 degrees on this Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. I'm Vanessa Illinois. Into the headlines. Chicago's iconic WVON radio station turned 63 today. And living legends, George Daniels of George's Music Room, bluesman Billy Branch, radio celebrity Richard Steele, and the Honorable Judge Lesile South all stopped by to celebrate today. President Trump is sitting in on today's Supreme Court hearing over birthright citizenship, making him the first sitting president to attend oral arguments at the High Court. And NASA's Artemis II mission is set to make history today by sending Victor Glover Jr., the first Black astronaut on a moon mission. And ahead of his flight, astronaut Glover spoke exclusively on WVON. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the iHeartRadio app. And WVON 1690 AM, Irwin, Chicago, it's 11:04.
I'm Vanessa Tyler on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Corrupt mail-in ballots. We're the only country in the world that does it that way. Corrupt as hell.
No question how the president feels about mail-in ballots. Even without proof of widespread fraud, he just signed an executive order to change what he calls the legendary cheating. The Secretary of Homeland Security will create a list of those eligible to vote in each state. The U.S. Postal Service will only send absentee ballots to voters on each state's approved mail-in ballot list. Fill up your car, empty out your pockets. Gas prices now averaging $4, a real pain at the pump.
It's crazy. It's like, you put your gas in your car, and instead of the needle going this way, the needle goes that way. So it's tough.
Lisa Little, who is also Black, says she cannot top off. It's too expensive, so she keeps her eye on how much she is putting in.
So I stopped at 10 because that's all I can do right now because the prices are just crazy.
up more than $1 compared to a month ago, and the first time it's topped $4 a gallon for regular in years. The reason, of course, the war and the fact the Trump administration has not yet come up with a strategy to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, from which a portion of the world's oil flows. A black man wants to die now. Jeremy Williams was scheduled to be put to death anyway, just a matter of time, on Alabama's death row. He is convicted of the most horrendous of crimes, raping and murdering an innocent 5-year-old girl back in 2021, leaving the lifeless body of Kamari Holland with a rope around her little neck in a basement in Phoenix City, Alabama. Officials say Williams is asking for a selfish reason, knowing there are rules in prison. Anyone doing time for hurting a child is a target.
My opinion is Jeremy don't want to face 20 years of running from inmates. His whole mindset is he would rather end it today than spend the next 25 or so years looking over his shoulder because of what he did.
Looks like he may get his wish. The Russell County DA says he is now moved to the front of the execution list. It's like being inside a horror movie on fire. That's how passengers felt on board that Delta flight from Sao Paulo, Brazil, heading to the U.S. destination, Atlanta. They're screaming because they are in the air and the left engine is a ball of fire. Luckily, the skillful pilots were able to level off and begin an immediate descent. The plane landed, the fire department put out the fire, and reports are no one was hurt. Delta looking into why the engine fell apart soon after the plane took off. For more on these stories and international, national, state, and local news impacting the Black community, listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app or log on to BINnews.com. I'm Vanessa Tyler on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch. Like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
This Saturday, April 4th, Faith Meets Finance on the South Side. Spend in the Black is back. An all-day family-powered economic activation led by the Chatham Business Association, Salem Baptist Church's Pastor Charles Dates, and 6th Ward Alderman Will Hall. Beginning at 10 a.m. on 75th and King Drive, more than 100 Black-owned businesses will line the streets, serving up everything from soul food to style, from handmade goods to health and beauty. And WVON's own Max McGill would broadcast live from 10 a.m. until noon, and again from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Last year, hundreds showed up and nearly $1 million circulated through just 3 blocks. This year, we go bigger and bolder. This is what economic empowerment looks like in real time. So don't just talk about community, invest in it, build it, spend in the Black. That's Saturday, April 4th at 10 a.m. on 75th and King Drive. It's more than a moment, it's a movement. Go to www.cbaworks.org and search for Chatham Bucks to buy Black every day.
This report is brought to you by Lowe's. Pros, if something runs out on a job site, order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered to your job site by 8 p.m. See terms at Lowe's.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Light traffic for now along the Ryan from 95th Street to downtown. Just about a 17-minute trip inbound from 95th Street to downtown. Outbound looks good. Things are still pretty light along the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Taking a look at our weather, cloudy and cooler today. We've been pretty steady in the mid-30s. The National Weather Service says we're looking at windy conditions today with a daytime high somewhere in the low to mid-40s. Right now it's 36 at Midway, 36 in Inglewood, and 36 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm NF Lanoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
April brings spring flowers and a birthday celebration for the voice of Black Chicago. Happy birthday, WVON, celebrating 63 years of Black excellence.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 11:11. And listen, guys, it's WVON's birthday. 63 years. I enjoyed retired Judge Leslie South and her memory, her fond memory of her father and the station. DJ. And he said it was just, I've never met a DJ that's went by their full name. DJ Richard Steele. That's how you know it was real. And then last but not least, Stevie Vallis of Chicago Votes. And that roundtable was impotent, okay? The fact that Judge South said a thing, her father's contribution is what we expound upon literally to this day. The evolution of talk shows on radio was a big part of his foci, if not the foci. Literally having the last interview with the late, great Medgar Evers is powerful, especially when she talks about how young WVON was at that time, practically 2 months old, 5 days before he was murdered. Speaks volumes to the importance in a time such as this, 1963, where tensions are flaring and Black people aren't laying down and taking it. Federal legislation is coming with the hammer, and states are being overrun with a new authority in terms of inclusivity and desegregation. Contextually thinking about and historically thinking about WVON and its birth timing. You don't want to hear it when it's not appropriate, but timing is everything. And WVON at that time was born with purpose and continues to serve in purpose. That is the message. Therein lies the lesson. But class is still in session. The phone lines are yours, 773-591-1690. I am interested to know what the question of the day is. Very simple. When you think about radio, and as I had opened with our very own chairwoman and CEO, Melody Span Cooper, fighting to save AM radio up on the Hill in our nation's capital, when manufacturers were trying to just override, move forward, onward and upward, she's like, no, not today. I believe a Black woman. And I need for America to believe in Black women. Because had you, we wouldn't be where we are today. But because you needed to learn today, my mother say, if you can't hear, you'll feel. So the question of the day is, what value do you have in radio? Now, many of you all come to WVON to get the news just like it is. Okay? And I appreciate that in a special way. What are some of the reasons why? And as we celebrate and reflect on WVON existence, give us some of your fondest memories. Now, Barbecue Barbie was funny. So I'm going to have to privately go home and figure out what was up with Barbecue Barbie. And I think the creativity of just Black people in surviving America brings us to our knees with some of the most innovative opportunities to generate wealth. Barbecue Barbie, let me find out. So if you know something about it, let me know. And if you think of moments, I think some of you all was telling me some stories a couple months back of just moments of drawing out the crowd, right? And I imagine Purvis Spann, the Bluesman, and Mr. Wesley South have to get real creative. But the good guys were just funny all overall. So between Herb Kent, the cool gent, and some of the other fellas, I am certain they were creative. If you know something about it, 773-591-1690. Now, James joins us via YouTube and he says, happy birthday, WVON. I love the personalities because they are very informative for Black Americans, and who's doing a good job is WVON. So thanks so much. I appreciate that. And I'm going to the phone lines. I see Thurgood is calling. Let's talk to Thurgood. Thurgood, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Yes, good morning, WVON listeners, and happy birthday, WVON. I must take my hat off and applaud the vision of Mr. Melanie Spann Cooper, her husband, for keeping this legacy, this entity alive for decades now, more than ever. Why? Because you've made, as you so well articulated, and your panel articulated, we're still facing the same challenges. The headlines talk about a president who is trying to create a approved voter list. We know that means for us as Black folks. You trust me, the Republican Party has been trying to purge Black people and redraw the voting districts, such to eliminate predominantly Black congressional seats. So we're fighting the same struggle, the struggle for voting rights, the same struggle with our share of public contracts and jobs. And so WVON, to remain an oasis wherein Black people can come and articulate our point of view. Because I want you to understand something. Think about this. News media, radio rather, is the only medium wherein you can interact in your point of view. Otherwise, television, they're just giving you their point of view. The nightly news is a sham. It's the news, it's the sports, it's a pancake breakfast in Schaumburg, and then that's it. You know, there's no real interaction with elected officials and community leaders and what's going on our community calendar. Only on WVON. It is a travesty. WVON should be funded and granted to the millions of dollars by our city, county, and state of public officials for funding for school, to create media centers, for funding to educate our people how to be news broadcasters, radio broadcasters, media broadcasters. But we lack this. We should demand this funding and granting to support WVON and its legacy. And one other point, the Republican Party and the billionaire class has come to monopolize media. How so? The Washington Post is owned, I think, by it's Bezos. The Washington Post editorial staff is going to endorse Ms. Harris, Vice President Harris, but he vetoed that. He stopped that. Radio newspaper is consolidated in the hands of few. So WVON is something that if the Democrats and if people generally had a nickel worth of sense, they would sponsor, support, and advertise with. So thank you, Cleopatra, for your service. Thank you, Melody and Pierre, for your vision, and all the host of the years who have served VON. What an incredible legacy, and I'm proud to be served just a small part of it. Happy birthday, Jay.
Thank you so much. So listen, guys, Friday Night of Premieres continues on WVON TV this Friday, April 3rd at 7 p.m. Don't miss King Boulevard, a comedy with a powerful message inspired by the reality of streets, named after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Follow one young man on a mission to transform his community and bring new life to Martin Luther King Boulevard with help from friends, allies, and a little humor along the way. King Boulevard debuts Friday at 7 p.m. only on WVON TV. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, or at VON.tv. We'll continue to take your calls and more. It's WVON's birthday. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
What if you could have the most reliable Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Just 5 years. years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice it. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family is banking on bandwidth. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply. Powered by fiber, connection to the premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any direct out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all vehicles delivering quick quotes. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call this quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have?
I have this at home. I wonder, can I?
Again, 800-478-6430.
I wonder, can I plug in? I got the cord at home and then plug it into the thing here. We're gonna figure this shit out.
The pieces are there.
I'm trying to tell you, because this is worth something, and then I don't have to use headphones.
Right.
I can just put my phone there, right? We're gonna figure this out. I'm trying to tell you. I didn't even notice this thing. I'm just finally looking at it. Okay, cool. All right.
I can't ask you if you pick up a crime, so I'm just going to stare at you with a look of something.
Follow one young man living on MLK Boulevard who decides to change that, setting out to transform his community into something worthy of Dr. King's legacy. See King Boulevard this Friday at 7 p.m. and stay tuned for more dynamic storytelling as the Friday night of premieres continues exclusively on VON TV. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, or at VON. VON TV, for the culture, by the culture. On Saturday, watch Martin Luther King Jr. Enemies of the Dream on VON TV. See how recently declassified FBI documents and historical records suggest a deeper story that ultimately silenced one of the 20th century's most powerful voices.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This is Mrs. Fun. And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 11:24, and it's WVON's birthday. 63 years, and we're giving tribute with music exclusively from 1963. Is it all right? I'm sure it is. It's more than a moment. It's a movement. Spend in the Black is back, turning faith into economic power. And the Chatham Business Association wants you there. Saturday, April 4th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., head to 75th and King Drive for a full day of family, faith, and Black-owned business. Led by Salem Baptist Church's pastor, Dr. Charlie Dates, and 6th Ward Alderman, Reverend Will Hall, this is where community meets commerce. And catch Matt McGill, my colleague, broadcasting live from 10 to noon, then again from 2 to 4, over 100 vendors, food, fashion, beauty, and more. Last year, nearly $1 million poured into the community. Let's pour it right back, and I am saying twofold. This year, we can do it again. Spend with purpose, spend with power, spend in the black. I love it. Shout out to Stephanie over there, Brown Sugar. Definitely make sure I support it. As always, going to get my birthday cakes. Normally I send my husband, but I definitely wanted some love from Stephanie and my god sister Angelique, who's been there, a part of the team. He has a dynamic apparatus there, employing Black excellence all day, every day. So send us some special love to Brown Sugar that way. Listen, guys, the phone lines are yours, 773-591-1690. The question of the day, class, is this. When you think about radio and you're thinking about our birthday, 63 years, what value does radio have? What does it mean to you? You know, as we're looking at the world, and you heard Thurgood, right-wing conglomerates are buying up stations near you, papers you read, stations you value. Yeah, just yesterday, eviscerated BET Plus. Eviscerated. But I'm still sending love to Mr. Lewis Carr, who I enjoy and spend time with when he's in Chicago, and I'm uplifting him because he's poured a lot into BET. Despite the evisceration, still he's standing, right? But BET wasn't just solely attacked. The papers you read, whether they're conservative in its values or the selectivity of what they publish. See, Black excellence is rooted in WVON. Do you value it? I'm going to the phone lines. Let's talk to Andre. Andre, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning to you, Ms. Cleopatra. How you doing today?
I'm in happy spirits. It's a birthday.
Good. I hope that happy spirit be contagious because we are getting this modern day Trump authoritarianism. First, I want to say that to ask you about the value of radio, well, it's in value because whether you sick or shitty and you ain't got no money, you ain't got no transportation, you always have radio. WVON. Now, I was at the WVON 50-year anniversary they had in Chicago. I was there. I got pictures of me and Elliot's band, Cooper. I took pictures with Dick Gregory. I was at that event. It was a beautiful event. Tony Braxton performed. We had a lot of good people that were there, and I hope one day that the Melody can put another one together. But let me say this. When I started listening to WVON, it was 1450. And then during the daytime, they would broadcast with 1,000 watts and only 250 watts at nighttime. Then it went up to 5,000 watts, and now it's broadcasting at 10,000 watts and less watts at night. Why is that important? WVON is reaching a much broader and bigger audience now than they did back then when I started listening, because they're able to have more watts. Like I said, it went from 1450 to 1390, and now 1690, the station. But why this is important, and I don't know if that was by design, Cleopatra, to keep the wattage down at the time. Maybe Brother Greg can answer that question. He's more knowledgeable about it than me, but they didn't have that much wattage. I mean, when you think about it, how many people can you reach if you operate with only, that low amount of wattage back then? 1,000 watts is nothing, and then 250 watts at night is even less. But you got power now. You're being heard in more places now than you ever did being on VON because you operate with 10,000 watts and 1,000 watts during the nighttime. That's what I want to say.
Absolutely. Excellent point. In addition to that, if I may add, we're found on iHeart. iHeart is heard around the globe. Do not take it lightly when I say folks are listening around the globe. My mother says she watches programs where they're splicing me in Africa. Okay. So, and I believe my mama. So ultimately, now with the thumbprint to digital streaming, so when you hear us talk about the birth of VON TV, the excitement around that, and then the multitude of platforms, and I know digital streaming is relatively new, and in class, we're going to start to break this down, but the thumbprints to Roku, Amazon, Apple TV, all of the stuff that you all hear us say, it is to expand our reach. So in the traditional terrestrial radio, you're thinking about the wattage, which is a great lesson as opposed to the growth. But now with the reach and the digital space is a whole nother level. Is levels on top of levels. It's the levels that your president wants with his presidential library that he plans to build, that 40-level building of whatever he's going to put in there. The bottom line is WVON been there, done that. We are across the globe. When we come back, we're celebrating a special birthday. And on the live line is Bill, Brother Hall, Tommy. I'm taking all your calls. 773-591-1690. Tell us what you love about WVON. It's our birthday. We'll be back.
Windy and cooler, temperatures still in the 30s. Good morning, I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. Chicago's iconic WVON radio station turns 63 today. This hour, living legends, radio celebrity Richard Steele, and the Honorable Judge Leslie South, the daughter of Wesley South, stopped by to celebrate.
Wesley South hired me, as a matter of fact. Judge South, your dad hired me in, I think it was around 86. Taiwan Free, who was a newsman and a talk show host. He and I worked together at that point. And one of the great things about your dad was his rules were that, you didn't put yourself in the position of being the one who created the opinions about what was being said. You had to get that from the listener, what did the community have to say. What we did was inspire conversation, but not necessarily overrun people with our opinions.
WVON was founded by broadcasting pioneer, the late Purvis Spann, the blues man, along with partners Wesley South and legendary radio personality Herb Kent, the Cool Gent, and other greats called the Good Guys. Other legends such as George Daniels of George's Music Room and bluesman Billy Branch also shared their memories this morning.
Chicago became the blues capital of the world, as George mentioned, Chess Records by the artists, many of them coming up from Mississippi, including Holland Wolf, Muddy Waters, Little Walter, and Chess Records and WVON helped cement Chicago's legacy as the blues capital of the world.
The station's roots grow deeply out of the civil rights movement and was the voice and source of information for local and national affairs, especially during the riots that followed the death of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We will be sharing and talking more about WVON's history throughout the day. Well, city leaders are once again talking about how to address those teen takeovers. Just a week ago, chaos erupted downtown. Now folks living in Hyde Park are upset after hundreds of teens flooded the streets, jumping on top of cars and shattering car windows near 52nd and Dorchester Monday night. So far, police say one teen, a 16-year-old, was arrested. Harry Williams has more.
A teenager was arrested Monday night and was charged with unlawful possession of a weapon, disorderly conduct, and failure to obey police. Chicago Mayor Brendan Johnson doubled down on not implementing a new curfew.
I can't just leave it up to the school. I can't just leave it up to institution. I can't just leave it up to the public space to create accountability. That's a responsibility for all of us.
3 others were cited for curfew violations. I'm Perry Williams.
And later today, NASA Aramis 2 mission is set to make history by sending the first black astronaut on the moon on a moon mission. Now, astronaut Victor Glover Jr. spoke exclusively with WVON's Rufus Williams and explains the purpose of the mission.
This is our campaign to not only send humans back to the moon, eventually onto the surface, to a lunar gateway space station that stays in orbit around the moon, but eventually to get humans on to Mars.
Now, astronaut Glover is the pilot with the responsibility of operating the spacecraft, which is set to launch from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, along with 3 others on board. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 11:34.
It's gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there. WVON. Experience the power, passion, and breathtaking athleticism of Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater live at the Auditorium April 24th through the 26th under the direction of newly appointed artistic director Alicia Graff Mack. 1 legendary dance company, 2 unforgettable programs, 3 spectacular days, and 4 incredible performances. From powerful storytelling to electrifying movement, enjoy Ailey's 5 Chicago premieres, contemporary favorites, and beloved masterpieces. Tickets are on sale now at auditoriumtheater.org. Secure your seats today.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray.
Congressman Jonathan Jackson on the line.
I saw a meme that said America will come and get you, but it's about the oil. They bombed in Iran, they've got oil. They bombed in Iraq, they've got oil. They bombed in Libya, they've got oil. Now they bombed in Venezuela, they've got oil. They even came after Diddy because he had oil.
Come on, Congressman. That was a great setup. That was good. That was good.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Ready for a home refresh? Now's the season to finally make it happen. At Ashley Spring Savings Event 72-hour sale, save up to 25% on your entire purchase with select spring styles, starting at just $4.99 and only at Ashley's.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Thankfully, the roads are in good shape. No problems, no delays to report. We're moving along at the posted speed on most expressways. What we do have is some lane closure right now downtown. Randolph Street is shut down between Wacker Drive and Canal. That's due to some bridge maintenance happening until 2 this afternoon. Taking a look at our weather, gray skies and cooler than yesterday. Temperatures still pretty much hovering in the 30s. The National Weather Service says we're in store for a daytime high of somewhere between the low and mid 40s. Tonight dipping back down to 34. But we've made it up to 37 at O'Hare. It's 37 in Morgan Park and 37 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Bernoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me.
So darling, stand by us. That's right. 1963. What a time. On the Cleopatra Show, I have the privilege to celebrate with you on WVON's birthday. And we're doing that in tribute to music selections. Shout out to my super producer, Sonia, for this brilliant opportunity to take us to the time. Digging in a time capsule, the nerd in me is fun, right? Hence why we're in class. And my enthusiasm is sparked by the movement. If you didn't know what movement, it was so many moving pieces. But WVON was cemented as the bedrock, as a vehicle, a communicative tool to expound upon issues impacting and attacking Black Americans at a time where folk were still migrating, nestling in the Beltway in Chicago, and confronted with inequity. I share this story often. My father, roots, Eudoran, Arkansas. We are 20 miles from Louisiana. And with that being said, I'll never forget my accusation of growing up poor. And with tears in his eyes, practically. As my father aged, I think emotions overcame him at times, depending on the topic. With tears in his eyes, he said, "Girl, you don't know poor until you know dirt poor." And I retracted that statement, and to this day, I will always think about it because he was right. There are times where you know challenges and hard times, but no, I know nothing about being dirt poor. And when I think about 1963, my father was at Farragut High School, and a time where these high schools literally were at capacity to the potential as to why they were built so expansive. Now, if I walk the halls of Farragut, I can't even understand why it's so big. Julian High School, Kenwood, Morgan Park. These buildings were built to the capacity of where they were because of the rush of Black folk coming for new opportunity to work. Sound familiar, doesn't it? The great migrators to work because they were seeking refuge from being dirt poor. And my father and my grandmother found themselves Robert Taylor homes right down Federal, right? And my grandmother was a hustler. So these stories are so many of whom that is a part of the fabric and the DNA to how WVON cemented itself to be the voice for the Negro. And look at me, your favorite millennial, and how I can eloquently tell the story is because of all of you all, but from our beginnings. Surviving while being Black in America is not just a thing I say, it's real. So as we celebrate 63 years for WVON, I want us to expound upon it. So we are reliving it through the sounds of the music, but those sounds, some of them are cries, again, for being Black and surviving this corporation that you all declare to be the country. It's ran like a business. And right now at the hem of it, is business good? Could it be better? I'm going to the phone lines. Let's talk to Bill. Bill, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Cleopatra, President Queen of WVON, thank you. I was listening to you and I was going to the history of what's going on. And I remember her, but I told your director that when I was in high school, her kids would come to Phoenix, Illinois, to a grade school called Coolidge School, the Great Coolidge Grade School. And he'd come there and bring entertainment in there and had talent shows for the young kids. Long before entertainment is like it is today. And he did it locally. He had a red Corvette and he had this cowboy hat and he promoted things and he helped our schools. He had us come on the WVEE show in Markham, Illinois, which is called Harvey. And our singing groups would come on and have a chance to sing on a Saturday morning on a radio station. But I want to commend WVON and I'm going to ask you to do something if you could. If you could, play some 30-second voices of the DJs and talk hosts through the years who have been on WVN this week since this is an anniversary. The spiritual and internet entertainment leaders and political leaders have been coming on your show, and you have represented our community well. You have met the entertainment world. You have met the local issues. You give us local support. You stood up for the people. These things that you have done are so great for us and it's so heartfelt that we do need that station. The importance of this station is the voice of the community. You have opened our eyes because at midnight, someone played Open Our Eyes around midnight at WVON every night. This is a great thing for Saturday night for those of us who go to church. He promoted local schools, talent shows again, and WVON gives us hope in his community. And I say this here, the twins that came on were in the morning. Matt and Perry, I went to their station one time over there on 30-something Kedzie, I forgot, way west. And they had just started. It was a good thing, and I saw it. I told them that I'm hoping for them to make this station grow bigger and bigger. So I say this to WVN. Keep up the good work. Keep up the legacy. Keep up those things. You have voices like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all the great people who have come on your show through the years, and you have promoted something that we just cannot replace. WVN is the voice of America, and I'm guaranteeing you that today they might want to shut it up, but it can't be shut up because in my way of thinking, God is with you. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I will accept that assignment. Listen, guys, I see Tommy is on the live line. Before I bring up Brother Tommy, I just need to remind you all again, as we are talking about WVON, the expansion to our digital platform, VON TV, is a whole nother level, right? I want you all to think about this in terms of, from an archive standpoint, of where do you go to visualize a lot of the excellent things that you hear. So Friday Night of Premieres continues on VON TV this Friday, April 3rd at 7 p.m. Don't miss King Boulevard, a comedy with a powerful message inspired by the reality of streets named after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Follow one young man on a mission to transform his community and bring new life to Martin Luther King Boulevard. With help from friends, allies, and a little humor along the way, King Boulevard this Friday at 7 p.m. only on WVON TV. And you can watch on Roku, one of many platforms, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, and you can check us out at von.tv.com, right? So there's so many ways in which you can skin this cat, but we are expanding our reach. Now, if you may, please bring up Brother Tommy. Welcome to WVON.
First of all, it's again, I hit these airways and I say to any and everybody who is listening on this day, you cannot make this stuff up. If there's anything that I am sick and tired of hearing, it's individuals calling the radio station acting brand new. I mean, what we have dealt with and what we have gone through, I can only say at this moment and at this time, this ought to be the moment that every black person in Chicago should step outside of their door and whatever the hell they're doing and take 30 seconds to just say thank you. Thank you to Purvis fans. Thank you to Mr. Daniels. I can remember as a kid going down on 47th Street. Anytime you wanted to see any type of singer, whatever, go down on 47th Street. The first time I went on 47th Street with my parents, you know who I saw? I saw Lou Rawls come out of Chess Records. Did I know what Chess Records was? Did I care anything about our history? No. This is our problem. Our problem is simple. Either you take your child, take out the most technologically advanced apparatus that any man could have, which is a smartphone, and all you have to do, ask one question: what and who is WVON? And when you do that, I don't understand how you don't realize living history has died, and we're still going for it, because if it had not been for those, it could never be no new. If you hear tears and stuff in my eyes, it's because I keep hoping and praying that maybe this day, maybe the next day, will be the day that we wake up and recognize what Jesse said, the hell we are somebody. Keep hope alive. Goodbye.
Oh, well, I'm definitely keeping hope alive. Those that are tuning in with us via StreamYard and on our Facebook page, I am rocking the late, great Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, and I'm always keep hope alive with me, and I know you all will too, as we continue to celebrate WVON in a special way. 63 years. I want you all to weigh in. Give me a call. Give me your memory. Give me an assignment. Just like Bill gave me a task, I am on it. So stay tuned for that. I'll bring that special assignment to you. 773-591-1690 is WVON's birthday. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Illinois politicians did it again. They secretly tucked bad policy into the budget. Now, guess who pays the price? Servers, drivers, stylists, workers who depend on tips. Unless Springfield fixes this mistake, your credit and debit cards may not work to pay sales tax or tips starting July 1st. Tell Springfield, stop the credit card chaos law. Learn more at guardyourcard.com/Illinois. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work, because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/meetingthemoment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Hello, Chicago. This is City Clerk Anna Valencia, and I'm excited to share that Amnesty Month is back. From April 1st through April 30th, you can purchase your Chicago City sticker without late fees or back charges. There are 3 ways to get your city sticker during Amnesty April. 1. Visit any office of the city clerk or Department of Finance location. 2. Come see us at one of our 3 Saturday mobile city halls, and you'll get your city key too. 3. Visit shycityclerk.com to purchase online. We'll see you soon.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network, VON TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV+, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.TV. VON TV. It's cultural content on purpose.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 11:51, and that's your friendship ring. She's breaking up with you. This is 1963, some of the finest music. We're celebrating WVON in a special way. In fact, we debuted WVON's song. Yes, it's a new song. And I was alluding to it when I was talking about jingles, right? I love a good jingle. I may not can sing, but I can write. I tell you that much. I'm going to give it everything I got in terms of the talent wheel. I'm going to the phone lines. If you got something to say to WVON, let it be known. Talk to me. Let's see. Let's talk to Billie Jean. Billie Jean.
Hello, Happy Friends behind the punch.
Oh, well, thank you.
Number 1, 1963 was the best year that ever had ever. And Billie Jean was not only my friend, our family. I remember the time. And, you stay out after church, you like your next door, the neighbors, sit on the porch. Everyone had a radio in their home, all black people had radios, and that's how we did it. 10:30. Do you know when you took y'all? Oh, I can take me right home. Because back then, the police would stop you. Not only stop you, put you in a car to the police station. When you get to the police, then they're going to call you, tear it off, but now please don't come up. Please don't want him to come down. You just don't move your whole way down there. So those was the best time. Thank God for those doing it. I've been listening to WVON since I was 10 years old. And so I'm so glad for the station. I still listen to it 24 hours. Some stations, I'm not going to listen, but yeah, I love y'all. Have a blessed day.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that. So much energy. I need Billie Jean's energy. I don't drink coffee. You all know that, right? So a lot of this is just natural, but I love Billie Jean's energy and love for WVON. I'm going to keep the phone lines going. Let's talk to Barry. Barry, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Well, a blessed good morning to you, my dear.
Good morning.
Matter of fact, I'm just going to rain on the parade of WVON because back in 1963 of that same year, you had only 2 black radio stations, period, in the Chicagoland area. And if they do the research, you had WVON and you also had the infamous WMPP. Both stations got their licenses in 1963, and then, of course, with the great Dr. King came to Marquette Park in 1967, I believe it was. Both stations, the only 2 that showed up, they were all black stations. So, celebration to you guys. My dad, of course, was the well-known DJ on WMPP in 67. But, yes, I do remember you guys. I listened at you guys when you had the great Tom Turner. You had, my goodness, of course, Richard McGee. You had, what's his name, from Soul Train, Don Cornelius. Of course, the infamous Mr. Herb Kent, which I had the opportunity to really work with him in the past. So, yeah, my hat goes off to you guys for keeping it going for 63 some odd years.
Oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. I'm going to keep the phone lines going. Let's talk to Django. Django, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hi, good morning, Cleopatra.
Hey, good morning.
All right, and happy anniversary to WVON. As I've heard so many others say, I grew up listening to WVON in the mornings. That's all Dad would have it on. But it's a great history just to know that we've had a
Yeah, what's that
Being
sound?
Patrick, for me, especially with this just coming out of Women's History Month, you know, we had all of this media on Nancy Guthrie, missing woman from Arizona. But currently, there are over 60,000 missing women, black women and girls in America right now, over 60,000. So I would ask for maybe more collaboration with the black radio stations, and then talking about the expansion of the Ebony Act, which is just in California, but that needs to be brought across on a national level. We have black women and girls who are missing, over 60,000, and we are responsible as a people to make sure that we can find them and bring those home.
No, and I thank you for that. Good point. Excellent point. Salient. Let's keep the phone lines going. Let's talk to Kim. Kim, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Thank you. I'm calling from Flint, Michigan, and I wanted to just congratulate the station and let you know that how important it is to have this voice and this platform out here. I came across WVON kind of by accident several years ago, listening to maybe a nationally syndicated show, and then that might have been dropped from my local station, and then they were still carried on WVON. And then I started listening to Perry Small up until she retired. However, I listened to you as well as other radio personalities. It has been a wealth of information. I've learned so much about across the board on multiple topics. And a couple of things on the subject, but a little off the subject. A few years ago, it was mentioned that like Elon Musk wanted to remove like radio. I don't know if it was just FM or AM or both, but by you being an AM station and you carry it on iHeart and you can be heard across the world through iHeart is a great thing, even though I'm in Michigan, and I know you all are also locally carried on AM stations. I think it's so important to have this platform on iHeart as well as regular radio, because a lot of things, different media is going digital, where it will be easier to snuff out the voices. And again, one more thing that
I got to take some more calls, Kim. A few more people want to tell us happy birthday, but I thank you for giving us a call. Let's talk to Juanita. Juanita, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Yeah, I'll make it fast. My father used to be on WVON with Western South, and he had a stutter. He would try to call in. Western South was on at night, and Western South was so patient with him. And I know if you have some old tapes with Western South, he will be on there. I started listening to WVON then, and I enjoy you so much every day. I was hoping that when Harris Small was not on there anymore, that they would get a good person. They got a great person.
Oh, thank you. I'm humbled by that. Last but not least, let's talk to Ms. Lynn Taylor. Lynn, welcome to WVON.
Hello, Cleopatra. My name, again, is Lynn. I started listening to WVON in 1963. I'm 77 years old. I grew up in the same neighborhood with Purvis Span, and I just wanted to say we received a lot of good information from VON and continue to do so with you yourself. And I just wanted to say I love the station.
Oh, thank you so much. What a wonderful way to conclude our birthday today. But listen, guys, I want you all to stay tuned because we're going to have a powerful roundtable with all the personalities later in the afternoon show. So I want you all to stay tuned for that because we're going to hang out and be reflective of some of the highlights that we want to expound upon from our own individual shows and what WVON means to us. Last but not least, a general reminder that it's more than a moment. It's a movement. I want you all to consider spending in the Black because it's back, turning faith into economic power, and the Chatham Business Association wants you there. That's right. This Saturday, April 4th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., head to 75th and King Drive for a full day of family, faith, and Black-owned businesses led by Salem Baptist Church's pastor, Dr. Charlie Dates, and 6th Ward Alderman Reverend Will Hall. This is where community meets commerce. That's right, catch Matt McGill, our very own, broadcasting live from 10 a.m. to noon, then again from 2 to 4. Over 100 vendors, food, fashion, beauty, and more. Last year, nearly $1 million were spent and poured into the community. I want you all to bring it right back. And I'm saying twofold. This year, we can do it again. Spin with purpose, spin with power, spin in the black. It's been a blast to be with you all. It was Fired Up Wednesday, but it's a special kind of Wednesday. It's WVON's 63rd birthday, and you got to spend it right here with me. And tune in to Matt McGill because we're going to keep the party going. It's a celebration on WVON, and we'll be back tomorrow. Class will be in session. It's Thursday, and I have something special for you all. And I'm going to retrain the brain in terms of how you take back your energy, right? Take back your destination, take back your time and pour it into yourself. So you're going to tune in tomorrow. Class will be in session at 9 a.m. on the Cleopatra Show.
Gray skies, temperature still in the 30s on this Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. I'm Anna Fleur in the headlines. Chicago's iconic WVON radio station turns 63 today, and living legends are stopping by to help celebrate. NASA's Artemis II mission is set to make history this afternoon by sending Victor Glover Jr., the first Black astronaut.